A big win for Nnamdi Kanu as court threatens to jail DSS director. Hello viewers and welcome to InfoGist. The Federal High Court in Abuja has threatened to imprison the Director General of the State Security Service, Adeola Ajayi, over the secret police's refusal to allow lawyers access to Nnamdi Kanu. Mr. Kanu, who is facing terrorism charges, is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB. The IPOB leader has been in detention since he was brought back to Nigeria from Kenya in June 2021 under controversial circumstances. His legal team has repeatedly accused SSS of denying them access to Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. The Federal High Court, in a notice issued on Friday, warned Mr. Ajayi that further denial of the lawyer's access to the IPOB leader would amount to contempt of the court and might result in his Ajayi's imprisonment. The judge, Binta Nyako, on the 20th of May this year had ordered the SSS to allow Mr. Kanu to receive visitors for 3 days in a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Take notice that unless you obey the directions contained in this order by allowing the applicant's counsel to conduct the court-ordered visitations with the applicant on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you'll be guilty of contempt of court and will be liable to be committed to prison, the court warned Mr. Ajayi in the Friday's notice. The notice was also uploaded on Facebook by Mr. Kanu's special counsel, Aloy Ejimako, on Friday evening. Mr. Ejimako said the registrar of the court issued the notice. The notice was titled Form 48 Notice of Consequences of Disobedience of the Order of Court brought pursuant to Order 9 Rules 13 of Sheriff and Civil Processes Act, Tab 56, LFN 2004. Apart from Mr. Ajayi, the court directed that the federal government should be served with the notice through their lawyer, Adeboyega Awomolo, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Mr. Ejimako, in a statement on Friday, said the notice was necessitated by the repeated disobedience of court-ordered visitations of Mr. Kanu by SSS Director General. The lawyer said Mr. Kanu's legal team has not been allowed access to the IPOB leader since 24th of September. He explained that the notice is a quasi-criminal judicial process that forewarns any person disobeying a court order of the penal consequences of such an act. Therefore, if the Director General of the SSS persists on the ignoble path, he will leave us with no other option than to commence vigorous contempt proceedings against him, Mr. Ejimako stated. Mr. Kanu's legal team has repeatedly accused SSS of denying them access to him. The legal team, for instance, accused the SSS of blocking them from visiting the IPOB leader last Monday. The lawyer, on the 27th of September, made similar allegations against the SSS. Before then, the SSS allegedly prevented some lawyers from seeing the IPOB leader in 2021. The incident had reoccurred in 2022, about a year after Mr. Kanu was first arrested in 2015 under the administration of former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari. The Court of Appeal in Abuja on 13th of October 2022 held that the IPOB leader was extraordinarily retentioned to Nigeria and that the action was a flagrant violation of the country's extradition treaties and also a breach of his fundamental human rights. The court therefore struck out the terrorism charges filed against Mr. Kanu by the Nigerian government and ordered his release from the facility of the SSS, but the government refused to release the IPOB leader, insisting that he, Mr. Kanu, could be unavailable in subsequent court proceedings if released, and that his release would cause insecurity in the southeast where he comes from. The government, through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, later appealed to the court on the court's ruling and subsequently obtained an order staying the execution of the court judgment at the Supreme Court. Delivering the judgment on the appeal on 15 December 2023, the Supreme Court reversed the acquittal granted to Mr. Kanu by the lower court and consequently ordered continuation of his trial at the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja. Meanwhile, the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB has stated that its detained leader, Nnamdi Kanu, is a prisoner of conscience in Nigeria custody and should be released from detention. The group further stated that Kanu is yet to be released because he has refused to compromise his standard on Biafra. The IPOB, in a statement by its Media and Publicity Secretary, Comrade Ima Powerful, accused the Nigerian government of masterminding the extraordinary retention of Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria in June 2021, stressing that the IPOB leader has been illegally detained in solitary confinement despite court judgment in his favor. Nigeria is illegally detaining him while they are targeting to destroy IPOB. Unfortunately, the indestructible ideology of restoring Biafra has kept IPOB moving along on our quest to restore the sovereignty and sovereign nation of Biafra. IPOB stated. They continued by saying that IPOB and Ndibo globally must continue to the campaign for the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He did not commit any offense for seeking self-determination for the marginalization and marginalized indigenous people of Biafra. Instead, his demand is in line with the United Nations Convention on Civil and Political Rights for the indigenous people of Biafra. Moreover, he has kept his faith and promises without betraying his people even after being illegally detained for nearly 4 years by the Nigerian government inside dungeon of DSS in solitary confinement. In October 2022, the Nigerian Appeals Court in Abuja discharged and acquitted him, but the lawless government of Nigeria refused to release him. Also, the United Nations Committee on Arbitrary Detention condemned the abduction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and called for his unconditional release. All these resolutions and court judgments have been disobeyed by the same lawless federal government of Nigeria. IPOB explained that the Nigerian government knows that Nnamdi Kanu committed no crime known to local or international law but has continued to display ethnic hatred against Ndibo by the persecuted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu's will checkmate insecurity in Southeast, Senator Alaribe Bianca Ojukwu insists. The former Nigerian ambassador to Spain, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu, has joined the call for the release of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB. Ojukwu declared that once Kanu, is set free, the security situation in Southeast will greatly improve. The ambassador made the call on Thursday in an address during the American Veterans of Igbo Descent, AVID, its annual conference which took place Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. The theme of this year's conference was Stand Up for Your People, which reflected largely on the issues facing the Igbo homeland, most especially the insecurity crisis, which has enveloped several southeastern states. In a press release made available to newsmen in Enugu, Ambassador Ojukwu, who is the wife of late Biafra leader Chief Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, also noted the need for Igbo people in diaspora to continue to uphold and defend their core values, sense of identity and heritage. She said their concerns about the security situations in the southeast are justified, adding that this was not only limited to the southeast, but a scourge ravaging most states in Nigeria. The ambassador called on the 5 state governors of the southeast to apply their collective will and collaborate more effectively in tackling the situation. She noted that the state of insecurity in Igbo land is posing an existential threat to life as we know it in our communities. According to her, the incessant killings and kidnappings, the increasing rate of annexation and takeovers of community farmlands by armed herdsmen and other dangerous invaders have taken their toll on agro and economic prospects and social activities in Igbo communities. Opportunist criminal elements within Igbo land have hinged onto the separatist agitations bandwagons to commit heinous crimes and seem to have sufficiently degraded the capabilities of security forces with their superior firepowers. Many people are leaving their villages out of fear, and once thriving communities have become depleted and the